I remember years ago when I was just playing normal Terraria when I first heard of Calamity. Back then, I thought of it as just another mod that adds a few items, maybe a few reskinned bosses. That was my concept of it at the time anyway. But time passed and modding Terraria slowly became easier and easier. So eventually me and my buddies got together to play it. And oh man, things would never go back to the way they were before. This one mod that's been worked on for years, is one of the best mods I've ever experienced in all of the games I've ever modded. Because what I usually think of as a mod for a game is a few tweaks, maybe adding a few items, maybe some new mechanic, like Skyrim. But Calamity takes the word mod and takes it to a whole new standard. Thousands of items, accessories, weapons, 27 new bosses, and 2 new difficulty levels. This isn't just some percentage increase to the damage enemies deal to you, no. These difficulty levels add on to each other, with the first one, Revengeance, giving you 2 completely new mechanics, the Rage and Adrenaline Bar. One increases when you fight, and the other when you don't get hit during a boss fight. And you don't even know how tense a boss can get when you see that your adrenaline bar is almost full, and you know you just cannot get hit or you're not making it out of this boss fight alive. And then it pings. And instead of some other difficulty tweaks, both Revengeance and Death Mode enhance the AI of bosses, so you're not just fighting the same boss with better stats, no, there's new mechanics, new movesets, the bosses are completely different than what you're used to. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, the plan was I'm going to beat all of Calamity on Revengeance mode and then make this video, but I got stuck. Most of the pre-hard mode was completely fine, but then I enter hard mode, do a few of the bosses, this is gonna be easy at everything, and then the problem came. This problem. I didn't even know Calamity had something like this up its sleeve. I beaten the entire mod on expert difficulty with my friends a year ago, and I had no idea Revengeance turned things up so much. There is so much stuff going on at any one time that it's almost impossible to keep track of it all. Just look, I'm keeping track of myself, the boss, of its minions, of my minions, its projectiles, its health, because he has different attacks depending on the different stage of the fight, my rage bar, my adrenaline bar, and also my potion cooldowns. So, you can't humanly keep up all of this. But this was the boss where I understood. There's no brute forcing this. I'm gonna have to learn him. I'm gonna have to learn all of his attacks, all of his patterns. I'm gonna have to master this fight before I can defeat him. I learned the patterns, I learned when I could attack and when to focus on dodging, because I knew there was no chance of brute forcing my way through this boss. Either I was going to perfect every bit of the fight, or I was going to die over and over, and this would be the end of my Calamity Revengeance playthrough. But I got him. And after I defeated him, I understood that there was no way I was going to get all of the bosses recorded in time. One thing I would like to touch on though, I do love this mod and I would love to sing its praise over and over, but I also have to talk about some annoying things. Like, yeah, okay, dodging everything, blah 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 blah, yeah, sure, but sometimes it's just so fucking much. And it's not like the boss has the same patterns every time, so you can just learn it with time and just perfect it completely. No, the patterns are randomly chosen, so you can literally get a series of attacks in a row that are extremely hard to dodge, and you can get them 5 times in a row, so your entire run is destroyed and you barely touch the boss, and other times you barely get the annoying attacks and can just defeat the boss no problem. So, you know, it's could use a bit of tweaking, but either way, it's good, but can be annoying shit. So far, I've just been talking about all the changes and addition Calamity brings and how you play it, but nothing really matches the experience of doing everything yourself. Exploring the sulfurous sea and going into the abyss, finding new weapons and turning them into your own personal bullet hells, summoning your own army of minions and elementals to aid you. You know, all of these things that you achieve through defeating these bosses. It feels amazing. Calamity hits the nail on the head with character progression. You start a new world and everything is a bit slow, but given time, you fight a few bosses and you enter the best cycle of dopamine you can imagine. You gather materials, you craft new gear, you prepare for a boss, you kill the boss unlocks new materials and gear, and you grow even stronger. And then you start gathering materials and crafting gear for the next boss, and the next boss, and the next boss, and it just gets crazier with each boss defeated. The weapons go from, oh, cool sword, to, oh my god. And all of this is beautiful. All of this is amazing. It feels great to play. It feels awesome to experience. But Calamity isn't just the gameplay. There is another part to the mod that, without it, I'd say Calamity wouldn't be the same at all. The soundtrack is perfect. DM Dokuro and his mastery of music is awe-inspiring. The soundtrack he created for Calamity is so unique and fitting, and the range of styles he was able to use is incredible. You have a boss like Aquatic Scourge, whose theme goes from drum and bass to a beautiful piano build-up. To utter drum and bass insanity mixed with... I don't even know what you call this instrument. It sounds amazing though. And then you have the subnautic orchestra of the Reaver Shark. And did I mention this guy is just a mini-boss, and he has his own theme? There's not many mini-bosses with themes. He might actually be the only one, but still, a mini-boss with his own amazing theme. What a treat. Fan of metal? Yeah, Perforator Hives got you covered. And what about the hulking mass of souls and flesh like the Ravager? His song carries so much emotion within it. Knowing the lore and the story behind him, basically being fused of souls and soldiers defeated in the fight against a tyrant king, made to stop him, but in the end only creating more destruction. The soundtrack and the gameplay of Calamity mixed together to create a perfect experience. One more thing that makes Calamity stand out is, well, its story, the lore. The base game of Terraria, to my knowledge, has no story or lore going to it. You just spawn, you kill bosses, it's simple and beautiful. I love it. But Calamity brings a new perspective to everything you do. Every boss now drops a lore fragment of himself, and sometimes a biome they inhabit. And as you progress through the game, you can make out details of a larger story taking place around you. Now, yeah, if you want to know the story and everything about it, the best place to read it all is the wiki. For some reason, not the official one. The fan wiki has more lore than the official one. I don't know why that is, it just is that way. But either way, I'd recommend the fan wiki for the story and the official one for everything else. Going back to the story though, the story told by Calamity is an interesting one. And knowing the reasons why you have to defeat a boss gives the fight a bigger meaning. You're no longer just fighting a big bad enemy for some nice loot. You're destroying an old mage's prison so he can finally walk the land again. You're destroying a mechanized and corrupted queen bee before she destroys all of the jungle in her confused rage. You're taking down foes in your path, and with each one defeated you come closer to him, the one responsible for everything. But before you can face him, you must deal with her.